Everybody, this is John, and welcome to the free video. So, last day of the year, I'm going to start off with BABA. This is kind of indicative of the Q3. You got this nice run up, and then kind of into the end of the year. We got a daily squeeze. And I've been watching Alibaba here, and I do think at this point that this was kind of the... if you think of the market cap here, I mean, this is like the largest market cap IPO. I do think that this needs to kind of come back and kind of, take a little wind out of the sails and stuff like that. And what's going to be interesting about this, and I'm picking on the stock a little bit because it was kind of like the last and biggest IPO of the year in terms of the big IPOs. But what does this mean for the S&Ps? And if we look at the spiders here, I mean, today they were down 1%, not a huge deal. From a daily perspective, from considering that we rallied from 183 all the way up to like about 208, and of course the spike without much of a pause, and now here we are. Nothing. That's absolutely nothing. But the question is that now that we've kind of got the specter of 2014 done, do we sell off from here? Or do we rally? And I think a big part of this is just kind of looking at let's look at the last 5 years of this. And we'll switch to a weekly chart here. Actually, you know what? Well, that's fine. Let's get rid of some of the noise here. And so if we look at this, and the pattern that you'll notice is for 2014, okay? We rallied into the end of 2013, and then we spent January selling off. Now, I know that doesn't look like much from a weekly perspective, but we went from 185 down to 176. I mean, that's like about a 100-point decline in the S&Ps, and kind of hairy, but then it recovered. If we look at 2013, for 2013, we declined into the end of the year, right? So, we peaked here at 150-ish in September and then sold off into the end of the year for the most part. And then we rallied. So what I've found to be a trend is that, if you sell off into the end of the year, then you get a big spike. But if you rally into the end of the year, okay, you rally into the end of the year, you actually spend, and just to kind of keep this in mind, I mean, we sold off, let's actually put this in perspective, because the sell-off was actually more severe than it looks like on a weekly chart. I remember. So you can see here, it's like, okay, we rallied into the end of the year, and then it was this kind of slop, and then it was kind of nasty there for a couple of weeks, and then it finally recovered, okay? And what you'll find is that that's kind of a common occurrence. If we go back to, 2012, here, we kind of sold off mostly, here's the highs were made back in May and sold off, got kind of sloppy, and then we rallied, okay? That was 2012, 2009, of course 2009 was the anomaly freak year. 2010, we rallied into the end of the year, and then we sold off. Again, not a huge sell-off, but we sold off for a couple of weeks from 116, down to 103. I mean, that's a 120-point decline in the S&Ps, 1,000 points in the Dow. So 2011, we rallied into the end of the year, and then, that actually, we only traded sideways for 2 weeks, sideways to down. So a little bit of an exception, but it's a little sloppy. So I would just kind of look at this as we definitely unequivocally rallied into the end of the year, and I would just be open to the possibility that we could actually have a pretty serious sell-off for the first couple of weeks in 2015, okay? Now, I'm not positioned for it. I'm going to do, this weekend, I'll do kind of a bigger analysis on the overall indexes and stuff like that, but, overall, I do think that 2015 is going to be much more volatile. So I would look for volatility to increase, and that's a good thing if you're prepared for it. And I think it's going to be a great trading year. I think it's going to be a lot of volatility. I think we're going to have to stay on our toes, and I'm very much looking forward to it. You guys have a happy and safe New Year's. In Austin, Texas, we are getting freezing rain tonight. And the idea of driving around slightly intoxicated in freezing rain with police everywhere looking for people that are intoxicated driving around in freezing rain does not sound like the best choice. So Maria and I and the kids are going to stay home, or we're going to go to a neighbor's that are 1 mile down the street and either stay there or Uber it back. So don't want to start off the year in prison or in a telephone pole, and want to keep it safe and keep things cool for 2015. All right? You guys have a fantastic New Year's, safe New Year's, good trading day on Friday, and we'll get things rocking and rolling starting next week.